everyone and welcome to Princess Connect 8.5 year anniversary live stream review. I am still overhyped, like my joy cannot be contained within this body, obviously because one certain thing happened which I've been anticipating for months now. So it finally happened and I'm very happy about it. So we will go through very quickly but precisely through the stream contents so you guys can learn about what's going to come and what happened. Before that, let me remind you that if you want to support the channel, especially if you are new, you can always join the community as a supporter or drop a donation through a super thanks. I would really appreciate either. Or smash that sub and like buttons. Okay. Let's try to concentrate, thank Webowski and Uber, and get into this amazing live stream for me, at least. Like I've been anticipating what happened here for months, so you cannot imagine how happy I am. First thing first, we had a set of direction to the stream, starting with player data. In this case I chose two rankings specifically, technically it is three, but one it is two results. Connect ranks, so this one tells us the most rank 15 characters in the game since the collection of data, which is like until a month ago more or less. And as you can see, what's interesting here is obviously there are lots of gameplay picks, like we see Ayla, we see Violet, we see Izanami Violet, we see Arachne. Those are characters that are perpetually used in clan battle in their specific elements, so it doesn't surprise me. But some of those are what I would call popularity picks, like War Dragon Chef is obviously very popular and very good, so I wouldn't count her. But for example, Eris and Astrea Peko are interesting. If I try and think that probably this is not only for clan battle usage, it makes sense. But it is a result that I thought interesting to share, since it is maybe a slight gameplay popularity pool, who knows. Still, I wouldn't really go overboard, it's just something I found interesting. The next one is sort of a popularity pool, because we have top 3 home screens, in this case CGs, so art that you find in the story episodes. We have Astrea Peko, Winter Wagana and Valkyrie Clear. This is obviously more based on the sexiness of the character rather than the character themselves, but I will also count the character popularity because they probably go hand in hand here. Astrea Peko makes sense. We had Christmas Peko with a similar results a year ago. Winter Wagana is a surprise, I didn't expect Wagana to be this popular, which makes me happy. Valkyrie Clear, we have seen her win with her summer version, so makes sense to see her here. She has a very passionate fans, so in both Japan and global, so warranted result. And then we have home screens, but in this case 3-star art instead of CG. Once again, the gourmets make complete sense. There is no little guidance Kokoro because she was in the previous votation, since she released in January and the previous anniversary was on February, the real anniversary, since this is alpha anniversary. Makes complete sense to see this switch. I'm curious to see what the next anniversary will be like, since there won't be any gourmets, there won't be any alter maiden, so it will be a little bit of a niche pick compared to this. Not really expected for CGs, but a little bit expected for 3-star art for sure. Next, we start with the gaming news. We obviously have the second character of the recent event, which is Summer Vampy. 3-star, permanent, very important to know that she's permanent. She will have free pulls on her gacha, I will cover her story obviously. And she's a character whose abilities have already been revealed since she releases on the 15th. Nothing too crazy to share here, like it's a character that is perma, so if you get her with the free pulls good, otherwise you might get her in another gacha that is not necessarily hers, so always be careful with permas over limited in this case, try to benefit from the fact that they are permas. And next we have what everyone probably was the most excited about, other than the one thing I was excited about, which is The Umamusume collab, we had the Gold Ship enter the stage. I find the Gold Ship a bit cringe, personally not my favorite Umamusume character, but that's beside the point. And she announced that there is indeed a collab between Uma and Priconne. So, last year we had a collab with Zombieland. It was a raid collab, so shorter and very small compared to the collab that we saw with Girls und Panzer earlier this year. I'm not sure which collab it will be since they didn't say it. It could be a big collab, it could be a small collab. Right now I'm leaning towards a big because if I try and think about it, this is not a collab done to promote something. Like the Zombieland one was to promote the movie. This one is what feels to be like a collab, like they want us to have the Umamusume characters. So it could be a true collab. That's what I'm thinking. Also, they didn't say what kind of collab it is, while last year they said it was a raid and we had Sakura coming. In this case, they didn't say Gold Ship is coming only. So it could be Gold Ship with like McQueen and Special Week. Could be something like that. I would like it personally. Obviously, I will be all over it. Even if I find the Gold Ship cringe, I will translate it impartially and neutrally, which ties very well into the next news. To the surprise of everyone, since you'd expect that at the end of the stream, we had Tia. Tia is coming as a PriconneFES in the middle of the month, not at the end, and with free pulls, which is probably the bigger news in this whole reveal. Not only that, she also comes with a prize gacha, so you cannot imagine my excitement seeing that, since it could mean that I will get Tia, Vampy, and then you will see the next month characters, which I will try to get bought for free. That will make me, ooh, wow, that's even better than a birthday gift. But we will see Tia for sure very soon into the channel. Her story, so-called episode 0, so I imagine they will cover Tia creation like they did with Amet a little bit. Next we have the results of the survey that they did for the part 3 finale celebration. So they had us vote on favorite events and the favorite main story chapters. I will try to go quickly through them and give you my impressions, and then show you the ones from Atsushi Abe, which is the voice of the main character, so our voice technically, and Yuka Otsubo, which voices Shinobu. They also voted for it, which is cool in my opinion, that they even showed their votes. Okay, let's start with events. We have at the first place Rebirth Maiden, a bit of recency bias since the survey started, I want to say, a couple of days after the event debuted, so many voted for this event because it's a very good event and it was very recent, so you will say yes, for sure, I like this one, makes sense. Grand Cru Royale, also another very good event. I would personally place Grand Cru Royale in second and Rebirth Maiden also in second, tied. Not allowed to do that, but to give you guys my impression. Friendship Club Winter Event. This one I will put it not in the top 10 at all, but it is the fact that Friendship Club has a lot of fans, so they will vote for their event. Makes sense. We have Divast Room, perfect event, perfect placements. I would also put it as third or fourth, if you don't count my tie break with the two events on the top 2 technically right now. The Peach Crash Tournament, so this one is what I will call a gameplay player, so a survey. They don't read the story, but they see the cutscenes and etc. They say, okay, I like this, it's sexy, etc. and I vote for this. Perfectly fine. An event shouldn't be rated only for its story. Maybe it should, but I'm not going to ask it here since it was a pool for, not a pool, a survey for everyone. The pool is all the events from part 3. And then we have I Wish. So this is my favorite event. This is my top 1. I wanted to see this at least top 3. I went crazy when I saw it on 6th. Why 6th? I don't understand. Probably because it's not very recent. It is from nearly 3 years ago. So it is what it is. And it is the event that made me want to translate Priconne at full effort like I'm doing, so you can imagine why I wanted to say it first. It is a good writing personified in an event. Still, it is very high, like if you see we have 1, 2, 3 anniversary events in the top 10, makes complete sense that they are there. Summer Anemos, Summer Qualia, not my favorite event for sure, wouldn't put it in the top 10, maybe top 20, but my big issues is mainly how they handled Summer Ninon and the fact that I thought the event wasn't placed very well into the timeline to do a better job with its emotional themes. So to explain better, when you have a payoff of a friendship between Clear and Anemone, and then shortly after you kill Clear and Anemone is kinda like nerfed by the event and also what they did inside of it, I would have preferred to see that resolution after she was resurrected, but it's still a decent event, nothing to say about it, just not in my top 10. And I will... Now, this is one of the 3 events that I voted for my top 3, and I didn't expect it to be in the top 10, I expected it much lower. You cannot imagine my joy in seeing it here. This event means a lot to me personally, outside of its own existence, like there are other things. If you check the video of the event, you will understand why. But I also like the team, I also like that it continued I Wish, and I also like in general that we do have an event series that did so well. Like both are in the top 10, which in my opinion is a very good result. Student Caril event, this is a good event, like decent even, but I wouldn't put it in a top 10. I guess many like Caril, which is fine, like it's also sort of a popularity pool. I would have put something like a Summer Dream Refrain here, I think it's a spectacular event, so it is a surprising pick. And then Gigantic Croce. Now this is surprising, but in the positive side. It is an underrated event, I suggest to read it, because it debuted in April Fools, but there is no real joke inside of it outside of the fact that it is such a good event hidden behind an April Fools. Now, main story episodes. This is more easy to picture on why each of those won. First place, Sheffy Resurrection, I also voted for this one, makes complete sense. Second vote, just like the Peach Crash tournament, this is the one where people saw the cutscene, probably they thought, wow, this is sexy, I vote for this. And we got the sauna scene from Bandy Sisters versus Alter Maiden. Third spot, completely justified, wonderful scene in voice acting. Obviously, what happens in it is not wonderful, but Clear versus Lily. Then we have Little Giant Skokkoro, Hado Tensei Caril, and War Dragon Sheffy reveals. All of those perfectly fine in a top 10. Popular characters plus emotional scene with a transformation makes sense. They're also recent, so makes sense that will be high. Vision Empress reveal, this had to be in the top 10, if not top 3. Perfect choice. Then we have Violet versus Yadogami and Twinkle Wish versus Grenouille, and also Alter Maiden and Sheffy versus Roland. This was also one of my votes. Surprised to see it this low. This should be top 3. Like, I cannot think of a better episode, like a single episode in part 3 than this one. Like, it was just perfect. So many good scenes, so many action, emotions, surprise. It was very good. Anemone heals the night. This one also makes sense why it's here. Perfect for a top 10. And then one probably that doesn't fit, like a second place. The night reunites with the Gourmet Guild and the reveal of little guidance to the other members. Like, the reunion is good, but I wouldn't put it in a top 10. Like, for me, if I had to choose top 10 moments, I would put Vision Empress gets destroyed with the tower inside the Tower of Luna. That was so good. Or something like Canon gets backstabbed by Nana. Those were good moments that had a lot of emotion put into it. So, let's check out very quickly what Abe and Otsubo voted for. We have quite the interesting votes from both sides. Well, 2 votes probably not, like Lindwyrm for bot makes sense, they are adults, some teams resonate more with them than some more youthful people. Then we have for Abe, I wish makes complete sense, he has been in this series since the start, this is a celebration of the original Priconne but also the new one, so it is an event that celebrates him as well. And for Otsubo we have the Summer Shinobu event, of course it's the character she voted, so... But the surprise to me was seeing gigantic croce on Otsubo votes. That's very good taste, because she didn't stop at the April Fool's aspect and she went beyond. Very, very good taste. For my story episodes we have one that I also voted, Sheffy, the Sheffy revival scene. Muimi and Docto for Abe, as you can see he really likes OG, makes complete sense, and Little Guidance Cocker also makes complete sense for him. Otsubo instead voted for the part 3 cinematic scene, which makes sense. It is very impactful to enter Geo de Ogonia and then see the part 3 trailer. Soon we will see the part 4, maybe next month, I can't wait. And then we have the one that I was talking about earlier, with Vision Empress in the Tower of Luna, which gets destroyed. Also a very good pick in my opinion. So to show you my picks very quickly, for events I went with I Wish, and I Will, and Grand Cru Royale. I think those 3 events probably are the best combo of good storytelling, good presentation, but also an engaging story. Like if you put all 3 things together, you get those 3 events. I know that probably per And I Will it is a bit personal, like probably if I remove the personal aspect I will put Lindwyrm here or Rebirth Maiden, but since it is my vote you do have a personal aspect inside of it. For my story episodes, and one of those choices might surprise you, I put Sheffy Revival, the Yadogami vs Violet Sin, and Twinkle Wish vs Grenouille, etc. And then Al-Shut Reveal. Why did I put Al-Shut Reveal? So this placed on 22nd place, I believe, on the survey. Go check it because they revealed up to 40 rankings for the main story episode, which was wild. 22nd was this scene, and what I enjoyed about it is how hard and committed they went on Al-Shut as a villain. She, in one scene, captured the threat that she is as a person, but also, like, by using her body, her appearance, etc., you would expect to be aroused, but instead she is creepy. Like, I'm not sure how to put it into words that makes sense what I feel, but it is a composition of a villain that really captured me. The more I see of Al-Shut, the more I can see behind their words, the more I see a really cool villain that is very creepy, very direct, very raw, and that was fascinating for me. It was a very impactful reveal of a character. Very good, so that's why I put it in the top 3. Now, back to the game. We start with some very fast news. We have new unique equipment special plus, which are basically renewal of the entire characters. Lots of cool ones like Yui or Christmas Ayane or Christmas Chica, or even someone that I actually didn't expect to see here at all, which is Lima. And who knows what they will do with those characters? We will know very soon. I love the UESP mechanic because it allowed me to see those characters back in action way better than other systems did, so good on them. I love the overall upgrade feeling that they give. Labyrinth updates, so this one very simple. They added a new Hell difficulty. They put Misora and the Queen Hornet into this difficulty. It gives more score and 3 treasure chests, but obviously the concept here is that they want to make sure you don't get Misora or the Hell Queen, the Hornet Queen, whatever she's called, in extreme, so it makes your runs a little bit easier, but also a little bit more challenging if you choose to do the Hell difficulty. I'm curious to see what other bosses they put into Hell other than Misora and the Queen Bee, because enemy updates was one thing I wanted to see in Labyrinth, so glad it's there. They also added a pass mechanic, so this one doesn't skip the battle in the traditional sense, but if you face a roadblock, for example you arrive in one floor and the boss you get, you cannot beat them, you use the pass mechanic, you skip the boss, but you do not get rewards or score from it, which is very good if you just want to end a run, since now it is more comfortable. Also they buffed supports, so now they are better, and they also fixed the issue with the Twinkle Wish artifact, which is all in all very good Labyrinth update. And now it's here, the raid event. I believe it is called End Vision. Actually, let me bring up the title, because I have been raving about it for hours now, but I don't even remember the title. I think it is End Vision, and sorry, that was my computer, and it will be coming next week. Technically speaking, on the very last day, on the 16th, but it is still next week. I am awaiting this raid. You cannot imagine how long it's been that I wanted to see this raid on the screen, and now we can see it. The bosses will be 6. 5 bosses on phase 1, and 1 boss in the final phase. You can imagine who the final boss is. The 5 bosses are Lisa, Freya, Alshat, Miroku, and Kaiser Insight. Each of those bosses has bonus characters which are tied to them in the story. For example, we have Pecorin, Nella, and Ryler for Freya. Makes sense, she was in their worlds ravaging them and she has a personal conflict with Peco. Violet, Grace, and Kokoro for Lisa. The first two make sense, Kokoro I guess because they are both elves. Cheryl, Christina, and Labirista for Kaiser Insight. I don't even have to comment on why those 3. And then, pay attention, we have Miroku against Wakana, Sheffy, and Eris. So there is a theory that Wakana and the other Bandi sisters are the daughters of Miroku. It seems like we might get an actual answer to this theory in this raid event, which makes me very excited. So the event will run from the 16th to the 25th, but obviously it will end earlier if we defeat the bosses. I will cover the whole event. Maybe I will do singular videos for the boss, but obviously I will do boss dialogue, boss fight, boss and dialogue release video. That's the idea. Then we have the final boss, which is Vision Empress and the Soul Dragon. That will be the finale. I will do my best to capture it as well as I can. It is the final part of part 3. 3 years that we have been in this story, and I have translated all of it, like events, characters, the main story. You cannot imagine how excited I feel to see all that book basically closed, so we can start a new one in part 4, since it is a proof of my work basically. Obviously early part 3 I need to work on some stuff, better translation, etc, but the later ones are perfect in my eyes, so I am very happy to see this raid. The raid will follow a format where there are yellow HP bars. When you consume them you get powered up against the boss, so you can defeat them faster since they have HP overall for the server. And when you defeat a boss, then you go onwards and defeat the others. For Alshat, the bonuses are Alter Maiden and the Dragon Maids, but that probably was obvious since they don't appear here. I just wanted to use this slide because it shows all the boss models. Now, the last 3 arguments that we have might seem less interesting than the raid event, but I don't think so, because the next one is the new event coming in September. We have School Swimsuit Croce and Lindwyrm. I don't know, but I love her, because I always wanted to have an adult dragon girl in Priconne. Technically we did together with Omare, and Omare strikes a particular fancy, which is also mine, But I wanted to see something like this Lindwyrm right here. Obviously, it is adult worm. I call her Lindwyrm right now because I have a theory that she's Lind and worm fused. But if she's like, I want together. That's basically like, let's sum it up in 2 words or 3. I want together. So that's why I'm speaking like this. And they didn't reveal anything else, no event title, no event preview, because they say that it is a spoiler for the raid and the ending of part 3. Makes complete sense. We will see more towards the end of the month with the event preview. Until then, you will have to resist with the character images that you have right here. Next, we have the roadmap. They updated the roadmap with some very interesting stuff. So we do have the anniversary update, special event, the raid planned, and the vision. Yes, I see, I was right, it wasn't vision. And we do have the Umamusume collaboration event on Autumn. As you can see, seems to be not the first month of Autumn, which would be September, I would say, if we follow Japanese calendar, which puts September as full autumn. October, because if I were to judge, this is probably October, and then after this is November, and then December. So I would guess that's probably there. Doesn't say which kind of event it is, but it doesn't say raid event either, so we will see. And then we have 3 elements which they didn't explain on the slide here, but I can explain from what they say. Princess Knight enhancement boost. So this is meant to help new players or players who are behind to catch up with the Princess Knight 3 and their Princess Knight element level. I don't know about the masterpiece stuff, probably not, because it's tied to the amount of characters that you pull from the gacha, or maybe they will, I don't know. But it is something very good to say, because obviously many players feel a lot of conflicting feelings of being behind, so I do love that they are doing this. Rental party, now this is also interesting. They say that it's a feature that allows you to rent characters that you don't have. So when you are doing a content and you lack a limited character and then they don't rerun for months, or you can't get them, this is a crazy feature to have, because it means that it removes that problem, hopefully fully, but they didn't really delve into it, so I can just tell you what the system is, not how it works. And then Battle UI improvements, they didn't say anything about this. Before we move on to the last part, Battle Arena and Princess Arena updates. That's crazy, because we didn't have PvP updates for 2 years and they're finally back, but we have to wait until the anniversary, since that's where the February, I will say, timeline is generally, so we have to wait until February. Still very good to know that they are working on them and it's not something that doesn't exist anymore. So you can see why I'm so hyped for this stream, because not only did they give us a lot of exciting hype content in the near future, the raid, part 4, the new event, the UESPs, all those stuff, but they also are bridging to make autumn and winter very interesting for sure. Collab event, PvP stuff, we also have the anniversary event with that, so I am very happy overall with the stream. To end it all, they confirmed, obviously, PriconneFES 2027 is being held online, unfortunately, but we are used to it by now, been the past 3 years like this, so what's to say here other than the fact that I am looking forward to it? They said that the background is a hint of some sorts. I imagine it's for the character live, but who knows, maybe the character will wear idol outfits in the image logo. Like last time it was Valentine, maybe this year it's like it is the Halloween stage from Halloween Tomo event, so not sure if it's Halloween or Idol, maybe both. And that's it. My friends, what's to say, like next week will be crazy, obviously towards the end of the week, but we are already technically in the next week since we are at the last hours of Saturday, soon to be Sunday, so it is what it is. I feel very positive about it. I think just the changes that are player friendly, like rental party, the UESP are obviously player friendly, since players can use permanence to tackle difficult content just by upgrading them. Obviously it takes time, but the upgrades are so good that I can't really say they are a negative. the Princess Knight boost system. If it's good, it will be amazing. The Umamusume collab, there is so much that really made me happy, but the raid was obviously what I was waiting for. I will continue with Priconne in part 4, which will probably start next month with how things are going, and I hope that you will be with me there. It will be a very emotional month with part 3. Obviously it's the end of a journey, and it has been a long journey, precious journey, so I hope that you guys will see it through with me, that you will fight with me in the raid, not against me, but with me. And well, what else to add but a huge thank you for all your support, and you know, if you want to support more, what you can do. I will just put as a last image before we go, I'll shut modeling the raid is her on the bed, which makes me laugh because it's like they clearly know what to do with Al-Shot to make her funny but also threatening in a way, so it is what it is. Anyway, my friends, this is the recap for the 8.5 year stream. Remember that we have free pools starting on the 15th for 17 days, so 170 pools, and you can get Vampy and Tia with them if you are lucky, but you can always complete the Spark, which is something that nowadays is not always a guarantee, it seems, on gachas, so better use it while it's still there, hopefully always. Anyway, I will see you next time, probably the gacha if I am unlucky, otherwise towards the end of the month for Lindwyrm or Adult Worm or whatever she's called, the gacha, and hopefully you will be there with me to see me triumph once again, I hope. Thank you very much, my friends, and a happy 8.5 year anniversary to you all.